Good evening. Israel says they are expanding their ground invasion in Gaza as they continue to strike the Strip. In a video message posted to Twitter by the IDF, residents of northern Gaza and Gaza City were again told to evacuate immediately as part of what was called a temporary measure. Officials say armoured and infantry forces are fighting several Hamas squads in northern Gaza. In Sydney early this morning, a rally called on the federal government to do more to help free around 230 Israeli hostages being held in Gaza, followed by a pro-Palestine rally after midday attended by thousands. Both rallies were authorised by New South Wales Police. Paul Keating says he will not join all other former Prime Ministers in signing a statement condemning the attack on Israel by Hamas. Mr Keating says a report in the Herald Sun newspaper today is without foundation and untrue. The former Labor leader said in a statement he released that he had told prominent lawyer Mark Lieber last week he would not be a signature to a statement drafted by the Zionist Federation of Australia, and that remains his position. All other living former PMs, Liberals John Howard, Tony Abbott and Malcolm Turnbull and Scott Morrison, as well as Labor's Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard, are set to release a joint statement asserting Israel's right to defend itself. And the current Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he won't ask Joe Biden to intervene in the Julian Assange case. The PM told the ABC's insiders it was time for the issue to be brought to conclusion. He added that Australian officials are working very hard to achieve an outcome which is consistent with the position he has put forward.
I raise the issue of Julian Assange with the administration on all of the occasions in which I've met members of the administration.
Including the President?
I have raised it with the President on a range of occasions.
What about this week though?
Yes, I have.
And what did he say?
Well, we keep our discussions private. I make clear Australia's position that I made as Labor leader. It's the same position I hold as Prime Minister, which is that enough is enough. It is time that this issue was brought to a conclusion.
Assange has been held in London's high-security Belmarsh prison since 2019, with the US seeking his extradition over the release of classified documents back in 2010. Tributes coming in across the world following the shock death of Friends star Matthew Perry. Perry was reportedly found unconscious in a hot tub at a home in the Los Angeles area, with first responders unable to revive him. He was best known for playing Chandler in the sitcom Friends, which aired for 10 seasons from 1994 until 2004. Perry was born in Massachusetts in 1969 and raised by his mother in Canada, later moving to LA when he was 15 to pursue an acting career. He was 54. Dozens of homes have been destroyed by bushfires in multiple Queensland regions, with emergency warnings remaining in place. Authorities have advised some residents it is not safe to return home. 6 News National Affairs editor Austin Pollock has the very latest from Brisbane.
Communities in Queensland are tonight remaining on edge, with multiple fires continuing to burn right across the state. Firefighters have attempted today to get control of the fires with favourable conditions, however warn the situation is far from over, with conditions set to worsen again next week. There are right now more than 80 fires burning right across the state, as you can see, with multiple emergency warnings remaining in place for the communities of Tara, Weambilla and the Gums in the Western Downs region, all west of Brisbane. An emergency warning has also been issued in Gladstone. If we go in towards the southeast of the state, the town of Tara, located about 300 kilometres inland from Brisbane, has been heavily affected, with at least 35 homes already destroyed. And in this Western Downs fire, sadly, 2 lives have been lost. Residents living in Landsborough, close to the Sunshine Coast, about 323 kilometres from Tara, were told to evacuate immediately last night due to a fast-moving fire near the town. The warnings to residents saying police and fire crews are door knocking. However, please do not wait for a police officer or firefighter to be at your door. Frightening stuff. Police continuing evacuations from homes within the area of Steve Irwin Way, Hardwood Road, Forestry Road and Dianella Road. Police have now established a place of refuge at the Landsborough School of Arts for people displaced. The warnings come after a man was airlifted to hospital yesterday afternoon with severe burns while trying to contain a fire in the North Burnett region.
We're hearing reports of a couple of our volunteers who've had their homes destroyed. It sends a shockwave through our whole team because of the efforts we're putting in, where our own are losing to this battle as well. Still observing some pretty heavy fire behaviour. The fires are flaring up quickly and moving quickly through the vegetation.
And with the extreme fire dangers we've had today, particularly across the western parts of the state. That's put pressure on a number of the containment lines that we've had and the work that we've been doing over the last number of days.
The federal government has extended the bushfire support package for those in the Western Downs and Darling Downs to now include Crossroads, Ducklow, Halliford, Cumbarilla and Moranbah and Montrose. Residents can now apply for $180 in emergency assistance, with up to $900 available for a family of 5 or more. Uninsured residents can also access income-tested grants up to $5,000 per household. Now, conditions are unfortunately expected to worsen again heading into next week with dry conditions and gusty winds, so it is important to keep up to date with the latest information, have your bushfire plan ready, and for the latest warnings, check the QFES website.
Former United States Vice President Mike Pence has dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. Pence launched his campaign in early June, which he had reportedly been considering for more than a year. He appeared at both major Republican primary debates, polling nationally as low as about 1% and as high as 6%, still well behind frontrunner and former President Donald Trump. Pence dropping out came just 48 hours after another candidate, talk show host Larry Elder, did the same. Elder endorsed Trump. However, as of tonight, Pence is yet to endorse any remaining candidate. The manager of the Western Australian Yes 2023 campaign for the Voice of Parliament has spoken out about the referendum's defeat. Multicultural community advocate Suresh Rajan spoke to WAMN News in his first interview since the defeat of the proposed change to the Constitution, saying the voice concept can still happen even without constitutional recognition.
There was a lot of stuff there that was being promoted by the no campaigners, and a lot of it was around people who weren't willing to go and look for the details themselves. So what they were concerned about, what they started to say was that really there was no detail. All of the detail was there. It was just a matter of them searching for it. We certainly engaged with numbers of communities and engaged with talking to them, and we found there was a high level of lack of knowledge about what this whole thing was about. One of the things that we found was very evident was that, look, the concept of a referendum was very alien to a lot of people who come from nations where it would be a totalitarian regime. It would be a government that simply imposes their will without actually going to the public to find out what it is that they want from the government. So the concept of a referendum was something that was completely alien to these people, and they could not understand it. And because they didn't understand it, they just found that it was very appealing to say, if you don't know, vote no, because they didn't know, and so they voted no.
The Yes campaign's message didn't cut through in Western Australia. Do you accept responsibilities?
I think that we could certainly have started the campaign a lot earlier. We didn't get into the space right up until the very end of it, and I think that we probably needed to spend more time in explaining the process rather than going straight down to going to the emotional arguments as to why it is that people who were the original custodians of this land should be listened to on matters that related to them. There was a real fear. We found that there was a real fear amongst people that this was giving a level of power to a group in the community that others didn't have. And that was what we found really hard to overcome, because people who come here from other lands often come from places where governments have control over their daily lives, and they were concerned that this was giving governments more control over another group of people, and it really was taking away their right to their own decisions.
All right, now here's a look at the top stories in Perth on WAMN News with Ivan and Mally.
Thanks, Pago. Tonight on WAMN News, no means yes. Voice supporter says no camp's victory ensures strong push on voice legislation. An exclusive interview coming up.
Also tonight, relief for food prices as a major highway bridge in WA's north is near completion.
Police Commissioner emphasised integrity among officers following CCC's finding against Senior Detective Cameron Blaine.
And calls to shut down Unit 18 continue following the death of the First Nations juvenile detainee. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment. Join us tonight on the WAMN News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Let's get a recap of the top stories we are following on 6 News this hour. And Israel says they are expanding their ground invasion in Gaza as they continue to strike the strip. In a video message posted to Twitter by the IDF, residents of northern Gaza and Gaza City were again told to evacuate immediately for what was called a temporary measure. And tributes are coming in across the world following the shock death of Friends star Matthew Perry. Perry was reportedly found unconscious in a hot tub at a home in the Los Angeles area, with first responders unable to revive him. He was 54. That is 6 News for this hour. There is more news 24/7 on our website and on social media. Just search 6NewsAU to find us. News is on the hour, every hour here on 6 News. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.
From the moment you get up, 6 News has you covered. We'll keep you informed